Welcome, and today we are going to learn how to do a super simple to-do list in React and Firebase. We are going to learn how to add a new task, like this, boop, and we can also mark them as done like this, and we can also delete those. Voila! We are not going very deep into explanation, it's going to be boring. I mean, for you. So let's dive right into the execution, let's go. First you need to create a new Vite project. Let's use Vite and let's give it a little name. We use React, TypeScript, and there we go. Now we follow the instruction. Simple, right? We install the dependencies and we run the app. Nice. And now the app is ready. Let's go. Boop. Here is our first super to-do list app. Now we just have to follow the instructions. Let's go to app.tsx. We are going to set it like this. Boop. We are going to remove this. Boop. Boop. And there we go. We are ready to start. But before diving into it, we have to think just a few seconds of what is our super to-do list going to do. Let's go for a little drawing. This is me. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, that's cringe. Let's stop now. What would I like to do with my application? Add a new task, of course. I want to mark a task as done. And I would also like to display the list of the tasks. Simple, right? This is what our app is going to do. Oh, also delete, of course, delete a task, yes. So now the question is how we are going to do that. Wow, that's the app, and the app is going to communicate, to save the task with something that is called Firebase, a database. So there are going to be some requests and exchanges between the app and the database. Yes, we are talking about all of this kind of operation. And now you are asking, why? Where is the database? We need to store the data, because if we don't, the data will be lost every time we reload the page. No, we don't want to do that. What I would like to do is to keep the data, the tasks, from one day to another. Okay, so that's why we need to store the data somewhere. And this is called a database. Let's go. Boop, like this. So voila, basically this is where our tasks are going to be stored. We are going to dive in details in this part. But later, now we just need to go to Firestore and to create a new account. Let's go. Of course, we are going to create a new account and this is going to be a free formula. Free plan, you know. So if you go to Firestore website like this, then you have to go to the console. Boop. Of course, you have to create a free account, blah, 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 you know it. Now you just have to create a new Firebase project. Voila, I guess that's good. We don't enable this. We are going to test. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, this project is going to be only used by you, I guess. Just for testing purpose, so we don't need to enable all of this. We want the simplest one possible. Now the project has been created. Fantastic. And now it's time to start it. First, I would like to add Firebase to my app. Let's just follow the instruction. We click on web, because we are using a web version. Yup. My web app, let's give it a little nickname. And voila. We don't need Firebase hosting, like for this kind of tutorial. We register, and now we have everything we need to connect Firebase to our application. This is very important. This is a crucial part. Let's do it together slowly. Because yes, you know, if we want our app to communicate with the database, we need to connect it together. So let's see how to do that. Basically, we just have to follow the instruction. We install the library Firebase. Very simple. Let's close the app. We install Firebase. And then we get this piece of code and we put it here. Let's just let it as it is, just for now. We are coming back to this very soon. And now we continue to the console. Okay, now our project has been created. It has been linked to our React project. That's nice. Now we need to create the database. And then we are good to go. We are going to Firestore database. And now we are going to focus on this kind of part. Yup. We need a database. What are we going to do? Of course, you guessed it, you're correct. Let's create a database. Choose a location near your own location. I am in Europe, I go to Europe. Then for the security rules, you are going to put start in test mode. This is going to allow anybody to use the database, read, delete, blah, blah, blah. This is not safe for production. Of course, read this notice. This is very important. It will be useful just for developing for today and the month after this. But after this time, the database will be closed or the access will be restrained. And now we create this. Well, the database has been created. Now it's time to think about what are we going to put inside. Okay, let's think and start from the beginning. We have the app. The app is used to display some to-do lists, some to-do tasks. So what are we going to put into our Firebase? It's going to be some tasks. What is a task? It is a combination of a name of the task, a description, and a state to know if it's done or not. Let's write everything about it. Okay, so we are going to fetch some tasks inside. And what is a task? A task is a task name. Let's call it just name. Usually, it's not a good practice to repeat yourself, so it's not a task name. It is just a name, of course. I want to know if the task is done or not. I want to store and to keep this information in my database, so we have to create a field that is called is done or not. And maybe a description. This is not mandatory, but we can put anything. Okay, now it's time to stay focused, because this one is going to might be tricky. Maybe you have already worked in the past with different stacks and different database systems. But Google's Firestore has its own terms, its own wording to describe the database entities and all. We are going to make it very simple. Here it is written, start a collection. What is a collection? A collection is like a big library that is going to contain all kinds of the same object. A set of documents that contain data. For example, collection users will contain a unique document for each user. Basically, this is like we put everything we need to store that has the same shape, the same info in it. We want to put it into the same category, and the category is the task list. So let's create a new collection that is going to be called tasks. What do we want to put into the collection? Multiple tasks. What is a task? And this is now where we are going to start thinking into documents. The document, every document will be put into a collection. And very important, every document has to be unique. We don't have any need to store twice the same task into the database. It has to be something different. Yes. Else this is a waste of space. We don't need to give a document ID. Usually it's better to use auto ID. We are going to create our first task and to put it into the collection tasks. What is a task? I'll let you remember. We have written this before. This is a combination of a name, or whether it's done or not, and the description. Okay, let's go for it. This is a name. Oh, well. Sorry. Sorry. So we got the name here. We add a new thing, a new field. So we got the name here. We add a new field. We can set a value here if you want. This is going to be our first task. Connect to app, of course. Description. We give it a little description. This doesn't matter anymore. Boop. And then we want to know that if it's done or not. Like, there are only two different possible values for this, so we are going to use the Boolean type. Either it's true, either it is done, either it is not. So let's call it false because this is not connected yet. So let's go. Save. And now we have created our first collection with our first document in it. And here are the information of the task. Nice! Let's go back to our previous drawing. So let's recap. Firestore is a platform that hosts a lot of databases. We have created a databases, this is red. Inside we have created a collection. This is a collection, but we can create as many collections as we want. And inside the collection we can put as many documents as we want. What is a document? This is like, for example, a task that has some fields inside. So a name is done and description. This is a document. A document is unique, and this is usually why we use an ID to be able to differentiate every document. Okay, and now we have all the basics of using a database, especially for Firebase. Fantastic! I suggest you, like, warmly, to take a little rest and to take a little break after this part. But if you feel like so, we can try to connect the app and to try to display our first task. Okay, so our first task is in the database. Now all we have to do is to retrieve it to display it into our app. Wow! Yep, this is going to be a tough task, but not so hard in fact. Do you remember this piece of code we have retrieved from earlier? Yes, you guessed it correctly. It will permit us to connect to the database. We just got the initialize app function. We create the config with the authenticator token blah blah blah. We use it to initialize the app, And thanks to this little app const, we are going to connect to the database and to eventually retrieve the task. We are going to create a single button, get tasks, like this. Boop, I click on it, nothing happens, of course. And now I would like that when I click on the button, I fetch the tasks. Right, we'll create the function fetch tasks. It's empty for now. Let's think about what we want to do. What is this function going to do? It will fetch tasks from the database. So it will go to the database, ask, hey, please tell me what task exists in the database, give it back. And so it will give back the tasks. Yes. How are we going to do that? First, we are going to connect to the database. We are going to use the method getFirestore using the app instance. Like, this part contains all of the information of who I am, what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. But Firestore is going to contain everything about the database itself. This is the difference between those two. Yep. Okay, so this is the code we are going to analyze it. We have the Firestore instance. We can do anything we want with that. Basically, we are going to use the function getDocs. We are going to specify the collection. The collection is located in the Firestore instance that we have retrieved earlier, and we are going to precise to give the collection ID. Yes, this is tasks. This is the same as we have given here, right? This method can take a long time, so we are going to use a wait. I don't want to move on and before the operation is done. And we are going to store the results into a const, like this, snapshot. Boop. A snapshot is the result of the getDocs operation. We cannot use it like this. It contains a lot of information and a lot of useless information. All we want to do is to get only the data, because a snapshot contains a lot of other things. Like, let's give it a little pick. We click get tasks. We got a lot of things, a query snapshot, and inside we have a lot of useless things. Query, Firestore, blah, 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 blah. Do we really want to do that to all of this? No, of course not. Luckily, Firestore gives us a function that allows us to convert all of this information into everything we want using the data function. Okay, let's go for it slowly. First, I would like to display the docs inside the snapshot. The snapshot, remember, this is the result of getDocs function. For every doc located inside, let's call it doc, we want to do something. I would like to get only the data of every doc located inside the snapshot. Right? Very simple. And if I console.log the result, here is the result. I press get array, get task, and here is the result. We have an array, inside we have an object, and what is inside the object? Oh, you guessed it correctly! This is our task! Fantastic! This is the same task that we have entered before, right? That's super duper cool. Now we know how to get the information from Firestore. Wow, fantastic! And now I would like to store it into a small variable that is going to be called the task list, right? Fantastic. Okay, now we know how to retrieve the task from the database. Congratulations! Now this is very cool. Things are ready getting started now. Still, we cannot use them. We cannot choose any task because the user is not going to see any task in it. Now, all we have to do is to put the content of this task list inside the app and to display it into the page. How are we going to do that? You guessed it correctly, we are going to use the states. When I arrive on the app, we don't see any task. But when I click on the get task function, then we have to see the tasks. So we are going to create a task list. This is going to be tasks, and we are going to update this value with the function setTasks. We are going to use useState from React to initialize this one. Okay, our state has been created. Now all we have to do is that at the beginning it's empty, but when I click on fetch task, I would like to modify, to update the task list with the task list that we have retrieved from the database, right? I hope this is not too hard to understand. We are in TypeScript. This is going to be a little trouble. No problem, we are going to fix that. First, I would like to declare that there will be some tasks inside my application. What is a task? This is an ID and some of other fields. This is a name, this is a description, and this is the isDone value, like this. I am adding the ID one because this is mandatory, but we are going to talk about it. Yes, because I created a new type that is called task with name, description, and it's done. This is the field that we have entered there. And this is the ID because every document in the database needs to be identified by an ID. So basically, every task that are coming from the database are going to be this shape, right? Now we just need to mention that we are going to use this shape inside our application. In the state, we are going to have some tasks. And also, in the return value, we are going to use some tasks like this. And now the error is gone. Fantastic. Don't forget to add this one, else TypeScript is going to be angry. Okay, so let's recap about this function. We get the snapshots using the collection and the information about the database. This database, this collection. We get the snapshots. We use the snapshots, and for every document inside, we need to get the data of the document. And we need to use also the ID. We are going to use it later to edit something. We put everything we have into the task list, and once we have the task list, we put it into the state using setTasks. And now we have the state. We know that it contains the task list. We just need to display it inside our app. We add a little header like this. We open a list, and inside we are going to display every task located into the state. For every task into the state, I would like to display the ID and the name and the desk and the is done or not is done. And voila, we click get tasks and it's working perfectly. Please don't pay attention to the style, this is ugly, of course I know. But now we have done our first mission. We have managed to connect to the app using Firestore and React, and we can also know whether if it's done or not. That's fantastic, and now we can change it into the Firebase. Like, this is not a good practice, but just let's do it for the sake of the demo. We update the is done field to true, because it was false before. Okay, now we have to get the task, and now we can see that it's done. It's done, it's working. We did it. We have done the hardest part. Congratulations everyone. Now it's time to try to go further. We have some other things to do, like now we got the tasks. Now we want to edit, add tasks, and also delete tasks. Let's see how to do that. Okay, so first we are going to create a new form that is going to allow us to create a new task like this. This is the form. Let's add some borders to help you differentiate everything. That would be nice. Voila, with some border, it will be easier to understand. Nice. Okay, so as I was saying, we have created our form. Nice. We want to be able to set if there is the task name and the task description. Of course, I would like that when I click on this add task button, something happens. Well, nothing happens for now. We are going to work about it. So what I would like to do is that on submit, when I submit the form, I trigger a function that is going to be called add task, like this. Well, this method doesn't exist yet. Of course, we are going to create it. We have to do everything in this game. Yeah. Okay, so let's think about what is this function going to do. Let's make it simple. First, this function is going to add a new task to the database. And when it's done, I would like it to fetch the task again, to update the data, the task list. So basically, this is going to be simple. We create a new task like this, based on the information of the form, but we have to retrieve the information of the form. How to do that? We are going to set a parameter here, and to use it, the event of the user pressing the add task button is going to be everything is going to be located in this parameter. Tac, like this. This is the type, just copy it, no problem. First, we need to prevent the default, because by default, it will reload the page and every data will be lost. No, I don't want to do that. We get the target, we get the name, we get the description, and now we create the new task, like this. By default, I would like it to be isDone equal false, of course! And of course, let's add some typing because TypeScript is not happy about that. Yup. Now we have our new task ready to be sent to the database. But we need to specify where we are going to put it. I would like to put it into this Firestore, into the task collection, okay? Right. Now all we have to do is to use the add docs function given by Firestore. I would like to add to this collection the new task that I have created, right? Once it's done, I would like to fetch the tasks, and I guess it should be enough. Okay, so now let's create a new task. I would like to be able to add a new task to the Firebase. Yes! And now I am adding the task. Let's go. Something happens because I sent the new task to the Firebase and immediately I got the new task. Nice, fantastic, it's working perfectly. We can check inside the Firestore console that yes, effectively, we have a new task added. Nice! Very simple, right? Very simple, very simple. I just need to build my new task and to add it using the add doc function. Very simple. I told you that we have done the hardest one. Now all we have to do is to do the rest of the update, delete function and all, but the rest is going to be very simple. We did it. We are now able to add a new task to the database. Wow, that's so cool. Let's close this function for now. We don't need it anymore. Yup, this one as well. Yup. Okay, and now it's time to hang on. Hang on, please. This is going to be the same, quite the same for the rest of the operations. Still, this might be hard. This might be a lot of bugs for you, of course, because we have been through it. Like, we get bugs every time. So don't give up. Keep trying. Try to focus on the mistake, or like not the mistake, but the error message. Everything about it, you can find some info about it. Because there surely is another developer in the world that has been through the same problem and that has the solution. So keep searching, keep looking for ideas, keep looking for all of this. Don't give up. We know how to add a new task. We know how to list the tasks. That's perfect. What I would like to do now, small improvements before moving on to the next part. I would like to, the page should display automatically the tasks without me having to click on this goddamn button. Okay, let's remove this button. Boop, we are not going to use it anymore. What I would like to do is to display this function when I arrive on the application. How to do that? We are going to use the use effect method from React like this, and I would like to fetch the state when I arrive on the app. Voila, simple. Don't forget to use this because it's going to define that we have to fetch the task only once when we arrive on the app. Let's save. I refresh the page and now the tasks are already fetched. Nice. Okay, let's move on. What I would like to do is that for every single task, I would like to be able to delete them. Okay, let's add a small button on every task, like button, like this, delete. Boop. So for every task of the collection, we are going to have a super duper button that is going to be called delete. Super. I click on it, nothing happens yet, but no problem, we are going to work on it. Well, I'm just going to add some little, very small style, because else this is going to be absolutely barbaric. Okay, point. Voila, super. Okay, what do I like? What would I like the button to do when I press them? Let's think about it. When I click on the button, I would like trigger a function, delete task, like this. This function doesn't exist yet, let's create it slowly. Okay, let's think first about what is this function going to do. I suggest you to always start your writing of function like this. Before writing a function, just write like a human being, a normal human being, what is this function going to do. This function is going to delete a task from the database and fetch the task again. Simple, right? If we do this, we prevent ourselves from writing a lot of useless code. This is a very golden time saver. Okay, yes, this is deleting a task, but we need to know which task we are going to delete. How to do that? We are going to pass it as a parameter. How to pass it as a parameter? Of course, in every task of the collection, we have an ID and we have to pass it as a parameter, like this. I click on it, I trigger a function that is going to call delete task, but with the ID, with the task ID, like this. And so when I click on this one, this is going to use this ID, and when I click on this one, this is going to use this ID. Very simple, right? For example, I would like to add display a small little message just to see that the IDs are different. What I would like to do is to use the delete with this one. So I'm going to display like to delete this one or to delete this one. this one is the same as this one in the database. Look at this. XY, 0, HP. This is Y. This is the good one. Okay, now we know the ID of the collection. We know the Firestore in which we are going to use this operation. Let's just do it. We get the collection, we get the snapshots. We can use the delete doc method, that is a good one. Okay, so this is the code, the final code that is going maybe to work. First, we are going to define the document we would like to remove. So we get it. We use doc, the database, the collection name, and of course the ID. With this information, I would like to use the delete doc method. Delete doc method needs where to delete it, from which collection, and which document. Very simple, right? Now we just have to delete it, and when we fetch the task, it should be removed. Let's try this. I'm going to add a new task that is going to be called delete the task youpla. We add it. Boop, it's still working. Fantastic. Now we delete it, we click, and it's removed. Fantastic, it's working. And I can do it anytime I want. Click, boop, click, boop, click. That's good, that's good. Now we are almost done. We have just a little things to do now, is to be able to display if the task is done or not. Okay, let's do that. First, we are going to start by adding a new button, like mark as done, like this. Mark as done. Boop. Cool, super. Absolutely barbaric. Yup. Voila, like this. Let's make it a little bit more logical, yes. And of course the margin, else this is going to be hugely ugly. Okay, that's a nice button and all, but when I click on it, nothing happens. What I would like to do now is to display, to trigger a function. When I click on it, click on the button, I would like to mark. And this is the code we are going to use. We are not going to spend a lot of time on this one. This is quite the same as the previous ones. This function is going to mark the task as done and then fetch the task again. This is going to take an ID as a string. Like, this is a golden tip that I can share with you, fellow beginner programmers. A good code, if a code is well written, we want to be able to read it in English very simply. And this might be the case. Like this is something we should always aim for. Try to write a code that we can read easily in English. We have an asynchronous function that is called mark as done, and it gets a parameter, the task ID, which is a string. Simple, right? We are going to create a new box that is going to be the result of the doc function using this instance of Firestore with the collection of the tasks and the documents identified by the ID received, right? Then we are going to wait for the update doc to be over using this document and changing these kind of fields. After this is done, we get to the fetch task method. If you can do this exercise well, then you can share it with other people. You can share it with your team, blah, 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 and the senior is not going to be mad at you. Well, this was my gift. I would like to share with you extra bonus. But now I can finally mark the task as done. Boop! Like this. And this is working. Fantastic. And also we can add a little extra spice to it. Like, look at this. Delete the task. I add the task. This is a whole class. I mark as done. It changes the icon. I can delete it. Voila! And this is done. Now, I guess we have everything you need to keep going. I will share the code on GitHub, so you can find it in the description. Just follow the link. And I hope it was useful. Thanks for watching and see you on the next video. Ciao!